Dear Sung-hoon, I hope you trust me when I say that I don't have any memories of our time together. But please don't doubt me. I'd be sad. You must help me bring all our friends back to life at the Black Sea during the night of the full moon. Only then can we truly be happy forever. Sung-hoon, I hope that you can trust me. Your Suha. Hello, and welcome back. To those who don't know me, hi, my name is Bee, and I make lore and theory videos here on YouTube, with more of a focus on Enhypen and Anteam. Now, if you keep up with Enhypen, then you may have watched the concept trailer for Orange Blood, where you might have noticed a letter from Celine written in German. It's here that we discover that Celine made Sung-hoon her puppet and used him to trap the rest of his brothers. But what if I were to tell you that these strings of fate have been pulling him almost since the beginning? A quick disclaimer that everything in this video is just a theory and is definitely not confirmed. And for those who are new, it's important to know that when I speak of the lore, I speak of the lore hidden inside the world of their music videos. Aside from the ever-suspicious Sonu, Sung-hoon is one of the members who has long stood out in lore. In their story, Sung-hoon is not only a vampire, but also a werewolf, or a shapeshifter if you read the novels. However, we rarely see this side of him in their MVs, as it mostly focuses on the vampire part of their lore. But if we take a deeper look, it's possible that his werewolf side has been connected all along. While usually I like to start at the beginning, for this theory we're going to start with Dark Blood, specifically with Chaconne. When the song first released, it was one of my favorites from the album. I couldn't help but rock my head back and forth from the rhythm, and when I read the lyrics, the song quickly rose to be my favorite in Dark Blood. To me, this song painted a picture of a marionette, unable to control their movements as they're forced to dance for someone hiding in the shadows, smiling as they pull the strings. The song sings, "Dance for me forever. Look at me in the broken mirror. Dance for me like you're drunk and fascinated by me. I just want to dance on, can't stop it. This is my world in the dark." In one way, this song reflects their desire for Suha. But if we take a step closer, this song could also be a reference to Celine, playing the role of the puppet master. The song itself references that she's brighter than the sun, and expresses her self-obsession as she forces the puppet to follow her will. The imagery of the broken mirror also suggests that there are two reflections, two versions of this puppeteer. And lastly, this song compares this puppet to a flower that blooms dead, a call to their birth as hauntingly beautiful vampires. And also not the first time we've seen this comparison. The scene that we envision from this song can be seen throughout their story when you look back at their past and current MVs and content, and especially when you consider that the puppet in the song is actually Sung-hoon. So, what is it about Sung-hoon that ties him specifically to this puppet master? And just how far do these strings go? We first follow this string to their debut music video Given Taken, where Sung-hoon is first seen in front of an orange wall with bloody letters that read Fate. And though he doesn't hold any power over this element, he summons fire in his hand. This scene in itself was our first hint at his connection to Celine, and possibly foreshadowed events to come. Fate, after all, is a name that I believe could reference either Suha or Celine, as we see it as one of the names mentioned in their concept trailer for Dark Blood. And in their song Fate, they questioned how they could forget the fate they devoted their life to, a reference to their roles as protectors over Celine in their past life. Yet, despite this devotion, throughout the trailer, Sung-hoon is surprisingly the only one seen protecting Suha, even though in their webtoon story it is Hee-sung who is known to be the one romantically connected to her. And the fire we see him hold in their MV could be a connection to Orange Blood. When Sung-hoon aids Celine in bringing back his brothers, he ultimately brings about his downfall, as this aid leads to her cursing them once again, burning down their chance at humanity. After Give and Taken, we see this string continue into their first comeback album, Border Carnival. When the concept trailers and clips were first released, one of the clips for the hype version catches our eye. On the sticky note, we see several flowers blooming from what seems to be either a drawing of a girl or a dead heart. This imagery, as mentioned, we see later in the lyrics for Enhypen's Chaconne, and as an actual fuller drawing in their concept trailer Orange Blood. Border Carnival then brought us two MVs. In their music video Fever, we see a necklace dangling over Sung-hoon, swinging back and forth, almost like a pocket watch when it's used for hypnotization. This necklace then falls onto his lips, and then wraps around his heart like a chain. And while in one way these images showcase them being tied down to their thirst, when we see him guarding an altar later in the video, it opens up the possibility of there being an altogether different meaning. The altar, for example, is a good representation of Suha, as we later see her on the altar in their webtoon, and through the sun imagery that we see in the video. So, him guarding this altar could be him protecting her, and when we see the necklace seemingly hypnotize him, it could represent the chains that ultimately tie him to her. We then have their title track music video, Drunk-Dazed, where Sung-hoon dances in blood, signifying his addiction to this thirst, and also his inability to control himself, much like the marionette that we see in Chaconne. This string doesn't end here, however, as we see it connect even to content outside of their albums and MVs. In their performance at Mama in 2021, we see Sung-hoon once again dancing in blood, and then finally, the string brings us along to their Fate tour. In their VCR, Sung-hoon stands in front of a stained glass window that's painted with the phases of the moon. He once again dances alone, shrouded in darkness. With each move he makes, one of his brothers can be seen near the ground, writhing in pain. He continues, until finally he kneels on the floor, the light from the stained glass window glowing behind him. And we soon see that he too was suffering. So what makes his connection to Suha so different compared to the others? What is a string that so tightly binds him? While the other vampires are connected by their blood, Sung-hoon is also connected by the moon. And while yes, Suha is often described to be their son, Celine, the princess she was reincarnated from, is connected to the moon. We see this both in her name, derived from the Greek goddess of the moon, and in the imagery that their concept trailer seems to connect her to. So his connection runs not just to Suha, but even to Celine. And if this werewolf side of him is present even in his relationship with Suha,
connect with everyone. Become the moon of our tribe and use the power to serve your master.
My master? Who's that?
세상이 죄가 되어가 Just let it burn 내 손끝으로 모든 것을 불태웠지만 널 되찾을 수는 없어 I feel the pain, no I only feel the cold I'm a Lucifer.
While he may not be in love with Suha, like Kail is cursed with in Blood Altar, it's likely that his will is chained to hers. Thus the reason why he is so protective of Suha in Dark Blood, and why Celine easily entraps him in Orange Blood, making him her accomplice. She grabs onto the strings so tightly tied around him, and forces him to dance to her Chaconne, to her song of death, and inevitably brings his brothers down with him. Or at least in one reflection of this universe. And that's the theory. It's not much, but especially because he's my bias, I've noticed some suspicious things about him, and it makes sense when you look back at their previous content. Again, this theory is also mostly only connected to the world of their music videos. If you've watched my videos before, we've mentioned how each world that their story is told in are other universes, hence the slight or sometimes major differences that you may see in their story. Songhoon, Sonu, and Nikki continue to be the most suspicious of the 7, and especially when you watch their Orange Blood concept trailer, some of their possible roles start to come to light. A few other things I'd like to mention is time. As we mentioned before, this carnival is Enhypen's version of the Magic Island, a place outside of time, where your dreams, or wishes, can come true. This is what opens the door to the possibility of multiple timelines. The concept trailer for Orange Blood seems to tell us that we are still stuck in this carnival, stuck in a time loop. However, it could be possible that this loop was broken when you take a look at the VCR footage from the Fate Plus tour. We see them at a carnival where they seem to be mortal once again. However, instead of it being Sonu who was bitten, this time it looks like Songhoon was bitten instead. It could be that he sacrificed his mortality to end this carnival, and is still what he considers a monster. Or, in a more darker twist, the VCR is just one universe where they may have a happy ending. However, the story in Orange Blood and in their music videos continue on. Another thing I want to touch on is the imagery behind Suha and Celine. We've seen images of this stained glass window multiple times since their Fate tour. This window showcases both of these characters. As mentioned, Suha is the sun, while Celine is the moon. So, what do you think? It's my first time doing a theory video solely focused on Enhypen, but I had a lot of fun with it. I also do hope to make a video touching more on this carnival in connection to Orange Blood sometime in the future. Anyways, thanks for watching and see you again next time.